I've got this mountain bike here with RockShox forks on it. Right now the shocks, they don't really move. There's like very little movement. But right now these shocks are inoperable, so I'm gonna go ahead, try to take them apart, clean them, lube them up, and hopefully get them working again. One thing I noticed that when I lifted up the boots down here, it looks like there's a bunch of dirt and sand down in here. A little bit on the other side, but mostly on the one side. So hopefully I can get that all cleaned out. First I want to go ahead and remove these two little caps on here. There's a 22 millimeter socket. So go ahead and remove those. These parts up here are like plastic, so you want to be careful. Already had these off before. And then compress the shocks here, get the elastomers to come up. Okay, here's the elastomers. According to the directions I've read online, you want to make sure that they're at least 5.8 inches long, and these are about 6 inches long. So, and they look like they're in pretty good shape. So, I think they're okay. Next, I want to remove this fork brace. I've already got the brakes off, so I've got an 8 millimeter wrench here to remove these little posts here, little brake pivot posts. Let me see here. Yeah. And then I got to remove these two bolt switcher 4 millimeter. Okay, now with the fork all the way compressed here, I've got a 5 millimeter hex, like long hex bit here on an extension, the 3/8 inch drive I got here. So I'm going to reach this down here, and there's way down at the bottom in here, there's a little hex fitting, and I want to get this in there. There. Then go ahead and loosen this. Or try. There's that. Now I should be able to pull this off. Excellent. Let's go ahead and work on this one. Such fun trying to get it into the hole in there. Ah, there we go. Yep. Cut that off. Get this off. There we go. Okay, I got a bucket of hot soapy water here, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean these parts off. Just get all the old dirt and grease and stuff off of them. As much as I can. And these things have some sort of a white, crusty gunk on there. I'm not sure what that is or was. Get those all cleaned off. I don't know if that's like dried grease or dirt and grease. Okay, I'm not going to scrub on the elastomers, but I am going to wipe them off. Wipe off all the old grease. Okay, there's a bunch of dirt in here, so just dump the dirt out to begin with. And figure out how to scrub down in there. Let's scrub the opening anyway. Okay, to get down inside these tubes here, I got a bit of old rag on a hanger, kind of with the hanger looped around the end of it. So go ahead and get this all soaked. And then work this down and see if I can get this down inside the tube. Get all scrubbed out in there as much as I can. Okay, I'm going to try a brass bristle brush in here and see if I can get this stuff loosened up in there. Unless that's just like aluminum. Rough aluminum from the casting. Don't know. I think part of it might be, part of it isn't. I don't know. Well, they're cleaner down there. Not sure if I gotta get any more out of there. And I gotta clean these upper tubes as well because they're pretty dirty. So let me get this stuff down in here. Push them up back. Okay, I'm gonna try some citrus degreaser on these. See if that loosens this stuff, whatever this is. Okay, I'm going to try a little bit of a Brillo pad on here and just gently scrub on this stuff and see if this stuff comes off. Seems like a little bit of etching in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and just run the Brillo pad gently over and clean as much of this stuff off as I can. Okay, let's go ahead and put these shocks on. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take the boots and slide these on. Let's see, get those started here. Slide the boots on. Okay. Now I've got the tubes here. And inside the tubes, there's bushings. There's a lower bushing about here, and there's an upper bushing about here. And I've got some Judy butter here, which is grease designed specifically for shocks, and this is actually made by RockShox. And so I'm going to take like a little bit of the grease, run it down around the lower bushing, and then take a little bit of grease and run it around the upper bushing. And then take a little bit of grease and lightly run it around the lower tube here. And then take the tube and slide it up. So it slides up nice and good there. This is the correct, make sure you have the correct tube for the correct side here. The brace mounts are on the front here, and the little tabs are down, sticking out to the side there where to hold the wheel on. Okay, I've got the plunger here, and it's easier to go ahead and put the tool into the plunger before you put it into the upper tube. There's that. Then I have a little bit of thread locker blue from Loctite. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that onto the threads here. Then I'll slide the tube, the lower tube up into place. And then screw the plunger in. I've got a torque wrench here set to 14 pounds, and I'm going to tighten this as much as I can. I don't know if I can hold the fork 14 pounds. It doesn't look like it. Let's go ahead and do the other side here. Take the tool. Slide it onto the plunger, slide the plunger down into place. Get a little bit of the thread locker onto the threads. Grease the bushings. Grease the tube. Let's slide this up. Screw this in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave that in there. I'll put the plunger or the brace back on here. And then hopefully tighten that back up to 14 psi, or 14 pounds. Get the pivot posts in. Okay, let's go ahead and get the torque wrench back on here again. Ow, that seems tight enough. That's pretty tight. Okay, the next thing to go in are the elastomers, and you want to rub a little bit of the grease over the elastomers. Again, make sure you're using the right kind of grease, a non-lithium grease. And like I'm using the Judy butter, which is right from RockShox, and so I know I'm using the right stuff. Play that down in there. Slide that down in there. Now let's put those little caps back on. Okay, be careful to not over tighten these. These are made of plastic, and so I imagine it'd be pretty easy to strip out those threads. There, all back together. Just gotta test it. Okay, let's try these. Excellent, they work. When I started, they barely moved at all, and so now they're actually working like shocks. Nice. Excellent.